Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It's just going to be me today breaking down the severe weather threat that's going to target the Midwest over the next 48 hours. And as always, we're going to talk about what your weekend looks like and what the whole next week looks like. And as always, of course, I have my Facebook up, I have the station Facebook up. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to just drop them down below. And otherwise, I'm just going to get going here. All right, so over the course of the next couple of days, the story for the Panhandle will be all about the heat. It's been about the heat. It's going to continue to be about the heat. We're also going to talk about your next rain chance, so stick around for that. But first, I want to talk about what's going on in the Midwest. Pretty nasty system forming, and what you'll see here is we have this low pressure system. It's moving up through Iowa. You can see that there. But watch what is called the triple point form. So you have the blue line, the red line, the purple line. That's your warm front, cold front, and then a occluded front, that purple line being where that cooler air is overtaking that warmer air. Note how they all come together in north central Illinois. What that is called in meteorology, we call that the triple point. That's where a pretty decent amount of uplift is going to happen. And if you don't have uplift, you're not getting thunderstorms, you're not getting severe thunderstorms, you're certainly not going to see any threatening situation. But however, note how you're seeing heavy rain embedded along that line. That is what is in store for areas like Peoria, Illinois, other areas close like Bloomington, Illinois. That is for tomorrow. And that triple point will continue to pose that threat through Indiana, eventually through Ohio, and we will see that cold front that is associated with that system, yes. However, initially this was going to be a little bit stronger, still weak. That's why we call it a cold front, because it's been so warm and hot and humid here that it's not really going to give us a cool down by any means, and now it's really not going to. What's going to happen is it's going to try to dig into the west end of the Panhandle. We really won't see any impacts from this. At the very most, even a couple days ago, we were forecasting a couple degrees of a shift, perhaps, but now the system pretty much fizzles out for us. But obviously, it's going to be a very different scenario for other people, particularly in the Midwest. So we're going to show you the severe weather outlook. Showed you that triple point for today. Still that slight risk into areas of Missouri, Illinois, into Iowa. But look at tomorrow. You're seeing that moderate risk, that pocket you're seeing of red. That is a level 4 out of 5 in terms of severe weather threat. So where that triple point comes together, best uplift, yeah, that's where you're going to see the best shot at severe weather. And when you have that moderate threat, that level 4 out of 5, that you don't see nearly as often as you see for just the lighter green, the darker green, you're seeing that general to marginal risk. What you're looking at is not just ingredients are there. No, that actually means for areas like Peoria, Illinois, like even Bloomington, Illinois, severe weather is likely. What that means is large hail, gusty winds, heavy rain, of course, and not to say that it's not possible outside of that red window. That's just your best bet for Saturday. And again, if you know anyone in the Midwest, a pretty nasty system forming. I have family and friends in Illinois. I have family and friends in that moderate rating. So just feel free to tag someone or let someone know if you do know anyone in Illinois or Indiana, even portions of Missouri and Iowa over the weekend, where all of those ingredients come together, and even a tornado possible. The good thing about Midwestern communities is a lot of those structures have basements, and obviously the best place to be during a tornado, not something like a flooding severe weather event, but a tornado is, yeah, a basement, the lowest lying level of a home, the most interior room. Always good to refresh that. For Florida, of course, a lot of our properties, a lot of our homes do not come with basements. So things like a bathroom, closet, just as many walls as you can get in between you and any thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm, because it's not just a tornado, it's also things like debris falling, or I mean trees falling down. You've seen that with just a severe thunderstorm that didn't produce a tornado, and it produced significant damage. So just the most interior room, but if you do know people in the Midwest, obviously basements would be best. Okay, so then Sunday, here you go, this is what we're talking about. This is our risk. The system's pretty much going to be fizzled out by the time we see it. However, we're going to talk about our next rain chances, because we're starting to see some of those drought conditions, dry conditions in Liberty County, Franklin County. We've already seen that. It's actually extended now toward Gulf County. So a drought overall for the majority of our viewing area. It's not, we're doing okay, but we haven't seen significant rain for quite some time now, and we don't even get that cold front. This, by the way, is what your cold front will look like. You can see that low in just north of Illinois there, and it's hard to even depict that cold front because that precipitation kind of dies out around Atlanta area. So we are good to go for the weekend. It's going to be a gorgeous weekend. It's a bummer that we can't really enjoy it. Hopefully you can just kind of look outside your window and enjoy the view. But yes, social distancing, all good things for Saturday and Sunday. Weather-wise, the only story for today, tomorrow, and Sunday, now that that cold front won't really impact us, not that it was ever really going to significantly, is just the heat. The potential for record heat every single day. We're going to see 90 for inland spots, likely again this afternoon, even Saturday, even Sunday, even Monday. It's going to be very warm and very humid. All right, next rain chance though, that comes Tuesday and mainly Tuesday. Better consensus this morning. That was good to see on timing. A couple isolated showers will linger into Wednesday morning. So still on a nice dry patch. We're not taking on this system tomorrow. We're not taking it on soon. We're taking it on Tuesday. So you still have a lot of days of sunshine. It's a very different setup, however, than what the Midwest is going to be dealing with their system tomorrow. If you're just joining us now, breaking down that severe weather threat that they will see, we're good to go. Want to touch base on whether we will see severe weather with this system, because it is a low pressure system, cold front coming through. It, on paper, sounds like what the Midwest is dealing with, but it's a little different. And the timing mainly, as of right now, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, couple showers Wednesday, and then likely to see finally some seasonal temperatures returning because of this. Cooler air, drier air, and also a pretty decent dry patch as well. Okay, so I'm gonna do some drawings. Bear with me, we'll see, of what we can expect with our system for Tuesday and why it's a little different than the Midwest. First of all, we saw where their low pressure system was tracking. The track of the low is important because in the deep south, we don't want to see a low pressure system crossing directly over the deep south. It causes issues with winds backing into the system, potentially helps with tornado development, strengthening of the system, things like that. So here's where our system's low will be. We're going to change that color. I'm going to save it for another layer. Okay, so as of right now, models this morning have our low going generally over the Tennessee and Kentucky area with a cold front coming out. It's the classic setup. And regardless of if we see strong to severe weather from this, this will be your next rain chance, so that's at least something to look forward to, and the hope is that we don't actually see anything too threatening with it. So cold front coming through Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. This is what's going on at the surface. That front will come through, drier, cooler air, but because we've been so incredibly warm and so incredibly humid, it's just going to knock us back down to seasonal, where we should have been this entire time. This warming trend is really not letting up just yet, because ridging is taking hold, and like we said, that cold front, it's a week and it's going to be fizzled out Sunday, so dry for the weekend. It'll be nice. We take you into the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and you see that general trough and ridge pattern. Ridging, like I just talked about, is what's generally going to be associated with sunny skies. Clear skies obviously have our temperatures higher. That's why we're on track to see potentially record heat again today, at least maybe tie record heat. Okay, so in white, that's your surface front coming through on Tuesday in that green teal color. That is the trough that's happening in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That's what's trying to dig into the southeast. That's your typical setup. What we look for is, note how the trough is aimed toward St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, more so than it is aimed toward areas like Denver, Billings, Omaha. That would be a more dangerous setup here. So most models this morning, when I last looked, had this what we call a more positively tilted trough. If you have that backing where that trough is digging, the trough being those green lines, back toward Kansas City, Omaha, Denver, that's going to typically indicate a more mature system, a strengthening system. It's pulling cooler air from more Arctic air, polar air. So you want to see that either positively tilted trough. Some models even had it kind of what would be called more neutral. So we do have that going for us. What you're seeing in the Midwest tomorrow is not going to be like that. It's not going to be favorable whatsoever. The other thing we look at is what's called CAPE, which is stands for convective available potential energy. That's going to measure the instability in the atmosphere. Illinois, Indiana, CAPE is a good measure of instability, highly unstable atmosphere. So that's what we're talking about with lifting and things that are favorable for the severe threat that they're going to experience into tomorrow. Our CAPE for Tuesday and Wednesday system, of course, it is pretty far out. We're still dealing with a very dry patch before that. That means a lot of time where things can change. But as of this morning, our CAPE was moderately unstable. So when we say there's a lot of different things we look at and a lot of different factors that come into play, there really are. And so we do really watch a lot of different factors very closely and factor those all in to give you the best, most accurate threat that is out there. And so for Tuesday and Wednesday, instability is moderate, so could be better, could be worse. And then we also look at another layer of the atmosphere. This green you're seeing, that's at the 500 millibars level, so that's the mid-levels. We also check out the 700 millibars level. This is something I look at for your best pieces of energy that are going to provide the best lifting. So we showed you that triple point that Illinois will see into tomorrow and how that was really, it all comes together, and that's why it's going to be such an issue tomorrow. Gusty winds, likely large hail, and even potentially a tornado. What it looks like, I'm gonna draw this, is basically pieces of energy with different what is called upward vertical velocity ratings. So what you don't want to see is those pieces of energy in the 700 millibars level across our viewing area. Obviously, those would be spots where you could see things pop, tornado development maybe, based off of the models. Again, things can change, but this morning, a lot of those best areas of uplift were found not in the Florida Panhandle, more so in Mississippi and Alabama, even a few in Georgia. We also look, are those pieces of energy consolidated? That's a stronger system, or are they kind of spread out? And as of this morning, they were kind of more spread out. So there's a lot of things we look at, and I'm just looking at this drawing as a whole. Yeah, definitely not an artist. Usually meteorologists are more into the math and science, but so hopefully that helped. I'm gonna check questions really quick before I go and get ready for midday. But hopefully that helped explain Tuesday and Wednesday's threat. I did have someone say Chicago area also level 4. To go back to really quick before I wrap this up, to go back to tomorrow's severe threat, Chicago's not a level 4, but areas just southwest of Chicago. So again, gonna put this out there. If you know anyone in Illinois or Indiana, even portions of Missouri or Iowa, give them a heads up for the system that's coming through their area Saturday and into Sunday if you're talking more Indiana. Chicago's not a level 4. However, we talked about how that red pocket, that's your level 4 you're talking about, that moderate rating, where severe weather is not only a potential, it's actually likely. No, technically Chicago would be more in that slight risk, but you've seen tornadoes pop up, you've seen severe thunderstorms pop up, even under a slight risk. So just give someone a heads up if you know anyone in that area, and otherwise, if you have any other questions, not seeing any other questions, just seeing kind of good mornings, good morning. I am going to go ahead and get ready for our midday show, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the weather if you can. If you can social distance somehow in it, it's going to be gorgeous, but it's going to be hot. Not warm, hot. We're seeing temperatures that we typically see in July and the end of March. So wrapping up March on a very warm note. All right, have a good Friday, everyone, and I will see you again at midday. Otherwise, on Facebook Live next Friday. Bye.